The interesting thing about privacy nowadays is that it feels like there is no privacy in anything. And I think it feels like online, especially, that everybody's out to get us all the time. I know my phone is constantly ringing. I'm constantly getting WhatsApp and Facebook and Discord DMs with spam. And it's this weird thing of like, how did you get my interactive number? How did you get, how do you know who I am? And the tough part is that a lot of this stuff is just out there. And I think as more and more of our faith interactions start to move online, we have to be cognizant and we have to remember that personal information and personal boundaries need to be respected. It's essential in how we do digital ministry. And so I think there's a couple of really big things, but it's important to understand and acknowledge that privacy isn't just a technical issue. It's not about ad blocking. It's not about making sure you have a VPN or making sure that you're hiding behind a wall. It's also a relational issue. And whether that means we're meeting face-to-face or whether that means we're meeting in a digital platform, we have to create a culture of trust. That's what privacy is all about. It's a culture of trust. And that culture means that people need to feel safe when they're sharing their own personal experiences, and they need to know that their concerns are going to be handled with care and confidentiality. And I think in digital spaces, this looks a lot like setting clear guidelines around what needs to be shared, about who accesses certain information and where our conversations are taking place. Things like Discord or private DMs and chat platforms, they can be powerful for building community, but we as leaders need to know that there are privacy settings within those platforms that need to be set, and there's boundaries that need to be set, especially around sensitive topics. And I think in practical terms, there's three key principles that we have to protecting our privacy in digital discipleship. And that, number one, that's transparency. We need to be upfront and we need to be transparent about what platforms we're going to be using when we connect with people, how their data is being stored or not stored, whether it's end-to-end secured or encrypted or anything like that. And we also need to be transparent about who is going to have access to data. If you're running a small group, you need to make sure that people understand that all of this information is going to be in a closed area. If you are running a one-on-one discipleship program online, you need to make sure that your participant and your disciplee knows that if your sessions are going to be recorded, how their personal information is going to be handled, and whether, they have an option to opt out if they really want to. And also we need to understand that it's okay if people want to opt out if they're uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable giving my information. Absolutely. We need to let people know what to expect so that they can make informed decisions about their own information being out there. Transparency is that first step to building trust. But the second thing is consent and really setting up boundaries of consent. I think in the digital space, we need to go the actual extra mile to making sure that people give explicit consent before sharing personal stories or prayer requests or even just phone numbers. It might feel like a safe space online, but again, we all know there's bad actors out there. And so what might feel like that safe space for you, might feel different for others. I think we always need to ask permission before sharing someone else's story, especially in sermons or on live streams or anything. We need to make sure that we have their permission. And we also need to make sure that our group members feel empowered to set their own boundaries. Again, going back to trust and transparency. We need to create space that is respectful. We need to create space for honoring each other's dignity and each other's stories. So that's number two. But I think number three, and this is the key for us as leaders, we need to have strong leadership and we need to have moderation. And what I mean by that is if you're in a Bible study or a gaming stream or a prayer group or something like that, we need to be leaders. We need to have moderators, and we need to moderate our own content. And we need to be trained to recognize when someone's privacy might be at risk or when, personal issues are being overshared. We need to have good leadership and good stewardship in those. We need to ensure that our spaces are remaining safe and respectful. When sensitive issues arise, because they will, we need to consider taking those conversations to a more private space, such as a one-on-one DM or someplace that is encrypted, like I said before, where it can be handled with care. I think at the end of the day, digital discipleship should be a space where people feel safe to grow, feel safe to share, and feel safe to connect without, I think, a fear of judgment or exploitation. We need to honor their trust by being transparent, by respecting our boundaries and providing leadership that prioritizes privacy and care.